I got my 2022 Toyota GR86 from Clint at the Paris, Texas Toyota dealership, and I have enjoyed it ever since. Got to do those oil changes to continue enjoying these cars, just as I did with my 2019 GT86, which I have a couple of videos out from many moons ago. I've done 2 prior oil change videos if you'd like to go see them, where I use the quick jacks to lift the car. In this video, I go over the oil change again using ramps. Welcome to Road Odyssey. Thank you for joining me. And if you like the videos that I provide, please subscribe. And if you're on Facebook, look up Road Odyssey. See what I'm up to on a daily or weekly basis. There is my little 86 in the middle of my drive at the incline on the Pittsburgh ramps. I guessed at about what point I could place the ramps to keep the car fairly level, and I think I did okay. Not looking for perfection. Got a wheel chock on the back wheels, even though I had the emergency brake on as well. Here you see the oil filter was marked by my friend Brian the last time we did the oil change. Rarely do I do this. I just use the first trip counter for my oil changes so that I know when to change the oil next, as well as any other software function in the car. And I swept my work area as well. Here's a look at almost everything you need. Here's the oil filter number, oil plug gasket number, 5.3 or a bit more 0W20 synthetic oil, Mobil 1 or AMS oil are my favorites. Oil pan, oil filter wrench, maybe. Should be hand tight so you could just undo the oil filter. 17 millimeter socket, and in this case, ramps. I went cheap and got the Pittsburgh 3 1/4 ton. That's relative to each ramp. Here's another look at the 17 millimeter socket. Extremely easy to remove the plug since it should not be tightened but to about 15 foot-pounds. I almost always overdo this because I rarely use a torque wrench and I'm paranoid. Inspect the plug and eventually the oil for debris. Be sure to clean the base where the oil filter gets installed to the engine. Apply some new oil around the base of the new oil filter before installing. Spin it on until it is a good strong hand tight, no more. I'm showing again the oil filter and gasket from a long time ago, mainly because there can be a bit of variety in the oils available and the plug gasket numbers can vary as well. So be careful. I got several oil plug gaskets from the dealership recently just to be safe. As I show you that I used a friend's quick jacks in the past, that's Brian, Yellow Jacket Garage, I want to finish this routine for you verbally, which is extremely easy. Using a new oil plug gasket, install the oil plug until hand tight, no more than 15 pound-feet. Pour in the 5 quarts of oil, let it sit for a little bit and check the oil level and look underneath for leaks. Close the oil cap, run the engine until warm, turn it off, check for leaks and the oil level again. You should have used about 5.3 quarts. I tend to do a little bit more. Then I run the engine a while or drive it around the block a bit and check for leaks and oil level again. So now I want to show you the step-by-step routine of what all of this turned out to be. Running down these steps really quick, gather all your materials. And these are things that you may or may not have. You don't have to have ground protection like a tray or old cardboard boxes. If you do use a ramp, you might want the wheel chock just as added safety, and you might also want those car jacks, safety jacks under the car just in case. And when you raise the car, whether it's on ramps or anything else, you just really might want that parking brake on. Get up under the car, get all that ready, remove the plug, inspect the plug, and when you drain the oil, inspect that a little bit too. And when you've got the oil pretty well drained, loosen the oil filter and just make sure that's drained out really well. So when you've inspected the oil plug, when you remove the oil filter, inspect that base that it comes off of, clean that really well. And then from there, you're just going to begin working backwards. Before putting the new oil filter back on, apply a little bit of nice, fresh new oil around it, all around that O-ring. Spin it back on until it's really good hand tight. You don't have to overdo this. Replace the drain plug with a new gasket. Be sure and double check that gasket. Tighten it until it is hand tight. Be careful about this. You don't want to overdo it. Just get it really good snug. Pour in your 5 quarts. Let that sit for a little bit. Check the oil level. So when all of this is close to being done, run the engine, let it warm up, then turn it off and set for a couple of minutes. Check for oil leaks. Check that oil level. Now, in theory, you're about done, but you're really going to need to add about that last 0.3 quarts. I tend to go a little bit over, and I'm just an overachiever. I run the engine again until warm, or actually I kind of drive around the block a little bit, make sure that engine's good and warm. I get it back home or to the shop, and I check for leaks in that oil level again. And when you take everything apart, put it together, this whole time period, just be safe. So anyway, there's your routine. Now, some pros and cons of using ramps. They are cheap. So that is definitely a pro. You might want to use 2 chocks. I only used 1, played with it. I probably should have put it behind the wheel. But nonetheless, I had the e-brake on. Who cares? The other thing would be really more of the cons. I am a little guy. I can weasel up underneath the car using ramps. If you're any bigger than me, forget it. I'm about 5'6", 5'7". I'm not real round or anything. So yeah, I'm a small guy. If you're big, not such a great idea. The other thing is, I have the incline in my driveway. So I could set this up so my car was fairly level and the oil could drain out almost completely. I mean, really, really well. When you're draining at an incline, like if your driveway or wherever you're at, if it's a flat surface, you're angling your car up, you may or may not drain all the oil out, which is probably okay. It's not that big of a deal. You're going to get most of the oil out. But that's pretty much it. I mean, ramps are just a limited use tool. If you really have a lot of things that you want to do, you're going to need the quick jacks or, good car jacks and jack safety stands and stuff like that to really get up underneath the car better. I hope this has been fairly instructional. There are tons of videos and, bits and pieces of information out on the internet. And like I said, I've done this several times before. There's a few of my videos out there on this, on the C8 Corvettes, etc. And Brian of Yellow Jacket Garage has got a lot of this stuff out there as well. So with that, Hope you enjoyed the video. Please relax, take it easy. I'll see you later. Bye.